We went to a local market last night and we picked up a huge case of these Roma tomatoes. Now, this is just half of them. I've got some of them going in the dehydrator, but I'm going to show you two things I'm going to make out of these tomatoes. We're going to make some sun-dried tomatoes, and we're also going to make some tomato paste. So, here we go. I wanted to tell you guys too, I put all my tomatoes, if I don't think that they're completely organic, which I'm assuming these probably aren't, then I put them in a big vinegar and water bath to try to get if there's any pesticides or anything on them that I don't want on them, okay, to make them as organic as I can when I get them on sale like that. If I get them from somewhere besides my garden, they go in a vinegar and water bath. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, I've started several trays of the tomatoes. I've cut them in halves and I've started those in the dehydrator. I've got them set at I've got 50 minutes go. They've been going all night at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. And these top ones still seem to be pretty, you know, not doing very good. But underneath, and all the ones underneath them are doing really good. So I'll bring you back when those are done, and I'll let you see what those look like. Okay, a few more things that I forgot to tell you. So I put this sea salt, and this is what you need to put on your tomatoes before you put them in the dehydrator to make the sun-dried tomatoes, okay? You're going to sprinkle this all over them. So I forgot to tell you that. And then I forgot to tell you that all my scraps, you know, nothing goes to waste around here, so we'll be giving this to the chickens. Don't throw that away. If you've got chickens or hogs, anything, you know, they'll eat that stuff, okay? And it's good for them. And then all that juice, that stuff that I squeezed out of those Roma tomatoes, went right in here. I strained it, and look how much juice that gave me. And this is just straight up tomato juice. It is good, packed with vitamins, okay? So drink that. Don't get rid of it. Don't throw it down the drain. Just strain it, get those seeds out of it, and you got you a good drink, okay? So we've got our tomatoes going in the crock pot for the tomato paste. Those will probably take, I'm thinking, 10 to 12 hours in here. And I've got them on high, but I'm going to turn them down on low. I just wanted to give them a quick boost of heat. And when they go down a little bit, I've got, and in this crock pot, I've got about 24 to 30 cups. I'd say probably around somewhere in there. There's 3 of these, and I think that's about 8 cups. So, and there might be a few extra. So we'll just say 24 cups, okay? And that sounds like a lot, right? But this is going to go way down. And there's another process to this after it cooks down in here. Okay, so we'll get to that. And then these, and then the sun-dried tomatoes, we'll get to that. And that's probably going to take another, I'm thinking 6 or 7 hours. All right, these we're going to do the tomato paste out of. So I'm going to get me a little paring knife, and I'm going to stick it in the bottom of this tomato pretty deep, and I'm going to twist, and then I'm going to squeeze the guts out of it. I'm going to squeeze all the seeds and the water, a lot of the water. These don't have as much water in them as the rest of your tomatoes. That's why they call them paste tomatoes. So you can make good tomato paste out of them. Then all your stuff's out of there, right? We don't have to de-seed it. And then you just take off the top. And then I'm just going to cut these. This knife is not a very good knife, sharp knife. I'm going to cut them in chunks, and we're going to put these in the crock pot. And we're going to let these cook. I'm going to try them in the crock pot and see how that works out for me, because I'm so busy, you guys. So I'm going to do this again for you. Put it in the very end, not the end with the stem, but the other end. You're going to twist, and then you're going to squeeze. And you're going to get all the seeds and everything out of there. Okay? Now, I planted Roma tomatoes this year, but our tomatoes hasn't started going yet. So I found these at that market, and I was like, I've got to get some of these. Because $10 for a big old case of them, that was cheap. Then you just chunk them up in there. Whoops, we forgot to cut the end off. And we're going to skin and all. We're going to cook these skin and all. Okay? So I'm going to get all this done, and then I'll take you step by step through both. I'm going to be flipping back and forth through both of these processes. All right, guys, we're still going with the tomatoes. I did stick my immersion blender in here, and I got this pretty fine. I think it's just about where I need it. That's all I did. It was really chunky still, and there was a lot of liquid in it. But now, if you can see, it's about the pasty, look. Not the consistency, but the look. So we're going to let this cook down until it gets real thick, like paste. But I'll get back with you when these things cook down some more. Good morning. So this morning we are going to finish up these tomatoes. I worked all day yesterday on these tomatoes, or I was messing with them all day yesterday. And today's the day. We got to get these going, guys, because I got stuff to do. The tomato paste, I put it in the refrigerator last night. I had it in the crock pot all day long, and it looks really good. And I'll show it to you here in a little bit. But we're going to do the sun-dried tomatoes first. So I ended up putting these in the oven because the dehydrator would have taken another whole day probably. It just wasn't doing it for me. And like I said, I don't have that kind of time to just sit and let that run for 2 days and keep checking on it. So I put them in the oven, and it worked just fine. I have tomato chips now. So after this process, and this is going to sound really crazy to you, we have got to rehydrate them a little bit, okay? You can't just put these hard chips in your oil. They have got to be rehydrated a little bit. And I know you're thinking, well, we went through the whole process of hydrating or dehydrating them. Why do we have to hydrate them? Well, because the oil won't penetrate this, and when you bite into it, it would just still be crunchy. So you have to bring a little bit of that back to it, of the moisture back to it. So what we do is we take about 2 quarts of water and a cup of vinegar, and we bring it to a boil. And I'm going to do that here in a minute. And then we'll put these in there, and we'll let them boil for 2 minutes. Then we'll take them out, and we'll drain them on a paper towel, okay? So that's what we're going to do. I got my water going, and we'll put that in there and do that, and I'll put them out on a paper towel, and I'll be back with you and show you what they look like. Right now, they're just hard tomato crisps, okay? So after we boil them, they're going to look a lot different. So do this step, and then I'll get back with you. I'm so tired. It's so early. And we had a mishap yesterday, and I say a mishap. We lost a little goat yesterday, and it was a very sad day for me, and I'm going to miss that little girl. She was probably my most favorite, and I shouldn't have favorites, but I just really liked her. She was just bouncing and full of life and everything, and I went to feed yesterday morning and walked in, and she had passed, and her mama was just standing over her and just crying, and I just, it bothered me. And those of you that have animals, whether it be farm animals or dogs or cats or whatever, they become a part of your family. They don't replace family. They don't replace a person, but they become part of your family. And so when they're gone, it does. It saddens your heart. But then I thought of the verse in Job yesterday, soon as I found her. The Lord gives and the Lord takes away, but blessed be the name of the Lord. And you just got to keep that. You got to remember that, that we may not understand everything that goes on in this world, but we have to know that, God is God, and He has a reason for everything and a purpose for everything. And we just have to understand that. So, anyway, things will get better, and the farm will go on, and but she'll be missed. She will be missed, and I'm sure her mama, I just felt so bad for her mom yesterday, just standing over her and just bawling, it was, because that's what the goats do. They give out this loud bawl, when they're in danger or hurt or whatever, and it was sad. But anyway, we're going to get back to these tomatoes, and I'm going to do these, boil these. You don't want to watch me boil them for 2 minutes. I'm going to boil them for 2 minutes. I'm going to bring them out on paper towel, let them dry, and then I'll get back with you and show you how we're going to layer them in the jar to make sun-dried tomatoes. All right, we're back, and I got these all laid out here, and I patted them dry because you don't want to put wet ones in there with your oil, okay? And see how they're not chips anymore, and they're really soft now, but they're still dehydrated, you know. We still dehydrated them all the way, and then we rehydrated them a little bit to put them in this jar so they stay soft. So what we're going to do is we're going to layer them in the bottom. It don't have to be perfect. Just put some in the bottom. They're sticking to me. And then I've got 3, and you don't want to put fresh herbs in here, okay, because they still have some water to them, and you don't want to do that. So you want to use dried, and I've got thyme, basil, and oregano. That's the 3 I'm using. And I put some sea salt in it, and I put it in this thing. So then after we put a little layer of tomatoes, we're going to put a little layer of seasoning, okay? Then we're going to put some more tomatoes. So it's just layer, 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 and your seasoning. Get all your tomatoes in there. Okay, there they are all in there. Put a little more of this on top. Now, if you want, you can heat up this olive oil, but we're not going to. And it's supposed to be shelf stable. These tomatoes are supposed to be shelf stable for up to 4 months, okay? So, and I'm sure I'm going to have these used before 4 months, so it's not going to matter to me. But as long as they stay submerged in this olive oil, you're good. Let me get a little spoon. Just make sure they're down in there. See that? Just make sure they're submerged in that olive oil. It's got all your seasonings in there and your tomatoes. And there you have it. Look, I got those tomatoes are staining my fingers. And there you have it. There's your sun-dried tomatoes. And then you just get your lid. Put it on there tight. And there's your tomatoes. All right. We've got our tomato paste. It's ready to be put in this pan. So what we're going to do, I'm going to let you look at it real quick. How thick it is. Now I could stop right here and just do tomato sauce if I wanted to. But I don't want to. I want to do tomato paste. We're going to put them in this pan. This is a 11 by, oh, I'm not sure now. It's bigger than a 9 by 13. I hardly ever use this pan, honestly. I feel like I'm splashing this everywhere. Now, you just want to go about a 1/2 inch thick in here, okay? I might have went too thick. I don't know. Maybe not. But you see how most of the water's out of that. And we're going to put this in the oven. And I'll get another pan to put the rest of this in. And we'll put this in the oven at 225. And every 30 minutes, we're going to stir it. Okay? And I'll bring you back, not each time maybe, but I'll bring you back and let you know how it's progressing. And I'll get another pan to do this other one. So just stick with me. See, you all get to see this all at once, and I have to wait. So I'll be back with you here in a minute. All right, guys. I just don't mind my kitchen. My kitchen's really busy right now. I'm making bread, and I got all kinds of stuff going on. But I wanted to show you this. Let me scoot you back a little bit. This is getting to like a brick red, and it's getting thicker, but it's not there yet. And we got to stir it. And I did turn the heat up on it just a little bit because I've got this bread I got to get cooked. So you want to stir it up every 30 minutes, remember? And then you're going to level it back out. You're going to bring it right. It smells so good. Then we're just going to level it out. We're going to do the same thing to this one. You are going to lose a little bit on the sides where it's getting warm. You don't want that in your stuff, but so you will lose a little bit. So try not to splash a lot of it up on the sides. But there you go. We're going to put it back in the oven, and I'll bring you back when it's getting thicker or when it's done, one or the other, because I got a lot to do. But yeah, this color, this is what we're looking for, this brick red, and it's getting really pasty feeling, and that's what we're looking for. So stick with me, guys. All right, guys. Well, it took about a total of 4 hours in the oven, but here it is, and it's amazing. It is the right color, it's the right consistency, and I'm going to show you what that I'm going to do with this here in a minute. So hang out with me and don't go nowhere. Just hold on a minute. All right. So here it is again. Finished product. And this is what I'm going to do with it, y'all. I don't have time to can it, so this just seemed like the easier next best thing. So I'm just going to, this is like 1 tablespoon, I'm sorry, 1 tablespoon scoop. And I'm going to scoop this out on here. And I'm going to put this in the freezer. And I'm going to freeze these solid. And then I'm going to put them in a Ziploc bag. And that's where I'm going to store them. And when I make chili or any kind of dish I need this with, homemade ketchup, anything I need, tomato paste for. And I'm just going to go grab me one of these or 2 of them or however many I need out of the freezer. I don't have to worry about forgetting it at the store because I've got it, and it's good. It don't have preservatives in it or anything. It's, you know, all natural, and there you have it. I hope you like the sun-dried tomatoes. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. I've got so much to do. Look, I got all this bread. It's rising in the back. So I got lots of bread to cook today. And Lord willing, I'll see you guys on the next video. Catch you later. Bye.